What's up guys, Ryan here at Signature Edits. Inside of this video, we're taking a look at a really interesting inflatable LED panel. So let's take a look together. It's called the Radi-11 Pro Air RGB Inflatable RGB panel. Super catchy, right? It's by Falcon Eyes, a company who I've actually done reviews for in the past because I really like their lights. And just to get it out of the way, this is not a paid review. I'm not being asked to say anything. They sent this light for free and said, hey, whatever you want to say, you can say. So that's what we're doing here. I'm going to check it out, give you my honest opinion and feedback on this light. So first things first, let's talk about this massive case that the light came with. Wow, is that a big blue case? It's actually really, really nice. It's hard shell, so you definitely get the feeling that this is a quality product from the start. But I will also say that the problem is because it's hard shell, I can't really stuff it into a bag. It takes up a lot of space. So we'll see. That's like a pro and a con. Let's open it up here. And of course, doing that, I just zipped it instead of opening it. All right, so here is the light itself. Bam. LED panel, super bright. It's RGB, so it does red, green, blue, and just normal white light. What's kind of cool is you get every color of the rainbow, and it's connected by Bluetooth to your phone. So you can actually pull up the app and change it, just like a recent video that I did on their F7 II, I believe it's called, where you can pull up your phone. The app's really cool, and just from afar you can dial in your lighting settings, which I love. And then what they did with this light is they said, you know what, a normal softbox, pain in the butt. Why do that? Let's just create a softbox here that has a blow-up panel. So there's like a pool floating almost inside of this thing. We're going to blow it up, and that, in theory, is going to create our softbox that the light is going to shine through, and maybe it'll give us really nice soft light that we can use. So normally I wouldn't buy a panel that's this small to begin with. Like, I'm a little bit, I don't really know what to expect because, for instance, my Falcon Eyes, what is the other one I have here? My Falcon Eyes panel I've got on me right now is about 4 times the size of this. So you're going to get a little bit harsher light out of a smaller source typically, but we're going to give it a try and kind of compare so you can see. What I do like is this, without the case, quite portable. Pretty small. I could shove this into even a backpack, honestly. It could probably slot down in there. So I could take this light with me on the go. What else is in here? We've got a really cool, it's an air pump. So if you like air pumps, that'll float your boat. We've got a super long, which is really great, connector to connect to our power supply. And then the power supply to end all power supplies. Honestly, this thing is built like a tank. It's made of what feels like some kind of hard aluminum. It's got a battery mount right on the back. So if you have V-mount batteries, this is actually a totally portable light. I say portable in the sense that, yeah, you could use it where there's no power, but this probably weighs 3 or 4 pounds, so I doubt I'd put it in my backpack if I were going on a hike, but you could do that if that's your thing. It's pretty cool that you have the option of going wireless. And the other thing I love that they added to this is that it actually has a Dmx out and a Dmx in. So if you do any stage lighting or you're using a lighting console for what you're doing, you can control this from Dmx, which is really, really handy and just adds a little bit more functionality. And lastly, it's got a DC output, which is quite interesting. So I think this is going to go in here. I'm going to supply power to the power supply, and then our output is going to go to the light. But I wonder if you could daisy chain it and have multiple lights on one power supply. That would be really cool. I don't know. Okay, so we got that. We've got a little light stand clamp here, so I'm assuming that this is actually going to slot right here into this little connector here. So our light stand adapter is going to allow us to actually mount this to the light stand permanently. It's not swinging around. It's not going to fall off, which is really, really nice and cool. Or, of course, you got this nice braided cable that you can just hang it if that's easier for you. So it's cool to have the option. That's the main thing. So let's see if I can get it out of here. Ooh, it's even a quick release. So it'll lock in and lock out. And then from our DC output, which goes to the light, we've got this massively long, I guess it's about 20 feet cable. So between this and this, you can reach this light a really, really long way without needing any extension cords. So they've really thought through that, because oftentimes it's a pain in the butt because your light, you want on the opposite corner of the room and there's nowhere to plug in. So this is really, really nice. And last of all, they have this guy right here, which is going to be our frame that the light's going to go on. So I'm assuming There's somewhere I can loosen this off because it's pretty tight. Unless I'm going in the wrong direction. Nope, it's just tight. Okay, so now we're going to see, without knowing anything about anything, if I can figure this out. Step 1, deploy light. So it looks like this, spins around. And this is nice too, like it's got really nice, strong aluminum to hold it together. Like it's not cheap, it's not chintzy, it's not gonna break. So I really like that. And it folds up pretty compact, so. Then this swivels out. It's gonna go on our light stand. So let's just try blowing this up, and we're gonna actually test it, see how the light works. So we got a lot of goodies in this bag. The thing I love about it is, you know, they didn't hold back. They gave you everything you need. The thing I don't love so much is it's pretty bulky, especially compared to my Falcon Eyes. What is this? My Falcon Eyes RX18TDX, which it probably takes about half the amount of space, but is a much bigger light. So we're gonna see what the jury says. Let's actually just try and hook this thing up. So you're gonna grab your beautiful, beautiful floaty and your pool pump. We're gonna connect it like so, maybe. What's kind of interesting is it's just a standard pump, I guess, because it's got multiple fixtures on here, even though there's only one for the light, so I don't know what that's about. But we're gonna slot that in. Pump her up, see what happens. Oh, okay, so pump, not a big fan so far. I mean, I can tell you right now, if this were my like grab and go light and I was taking it somewhere on a shoot, I don't think I'd want to do this overall. Like maybe if you just leave it inflated and you can transfer it around like this, but having to get out your pump, it's like you arrive on set or on shoot. Okay, that's nice. So it actually does have a little thing, if you use it right, that doesn't let the air out. But yeah, to have to do this every time you want to set up, a little complicated. Anyway, so we got our beautiful floaty. Next, we're going to slot it into our softbox material. And I've never actually used this yet, so your guess is as good as mine. Do you think it's going to be good? I don't know. And also, why do you think they have a hollow inside? Like, it just seems, I guess, the light's going to catch and be refracted around in here and change directions. Like, I guess that's maybe what they're trying to do, is create a less directional light. But why have a hole in the middle? Maybe it helps diffuse it more. I don't know. So anyways, we're going to try and slot this in here. Maybe the other way. And I thought about, you know, figuring all of this out in advance and then being like, this is how it works, which would be great. But at the same time, sometimes it's nice to see the first impressions. Okay, so we got our light in there. That was pretty easy. Next, we're going to take this guy and we're going to put it face down so it's shooting through that inflatable-ness. And it's got Velcro on the back of this, so it's really nice to just slot it on there. Cool. We have a finished light. I mean, it looks good, I think. Feels okay. Now it's really just about testing it and seeing how the light performs and what the quality is, because obviously it's a small little light, so I'm curious to see what the actual quality of the softness of the light is, and it'll be really interesting to see how much spread it has, how bright it is. So let's just pack this up and do that. All right, so I've got it plugged in right here, and I just noticed while I was actually taking stuff out of the box, not only did I miss one accessory, I missed two. So they give you this piece of black fabric. So I guess if you actually want to cover the light up, just to help you direct it a little bit more, I'm assuming you can do that. I don't think I'll ever use this, but you could. And then they also have a nice little honeycomb grid you can add onto the light. And the idea is that this will make the light a little bit more directional. So it's got nice bungee straps. We're just going to attach it like so. Maybe we'll attach it. At this point, we've got like a lot of accessories added onto this light. Okay, so that's actually really easy and quite nice. So I'm glad they included that. Let's see how it looks. Does it look good? I think it looks okay. There you go. Impress all your friends. So here's our light, and right now we are sitting at, bring this a little closer, 30% power. So I can theoretically, oh, okay, these are all the scenes I have access to. That's not what I want. That's RGB. I just want to get to the brightness. So I think the one thing that you're going to have to be prepared for in this is, like, you definitely want to use the app and you definitely want to use your phone. Because, like, yes, while you theoretically can adjust all this stuff on the controller, I am completely lost. I'm going to try and shut it off and turn it back on and see if that fixes anything. I got to a menu I can't get out of. Okay, let's try. Ooh, okay, so the actual twisty knob thing has a down button, but no side buttons. Interesting. And it doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, no, it does something. It's changing a letter from S to F, so you can guess what that means. Okay, there we go. So we just hit enter. That'll take us, that's max brightness right here. Oh, do I look good? Or do I look good? So here's our max brightness. Now, let's actually switch over to the phone app and see how quick and easy it is to sync. So when I did this before, I had to download an app called DeSal Lite on my phone, and I'm hoping it uses the same app. It would be really nice if all the apps were the same. So I'm searching for a new device here, and nothing is coming up. Let us consult the manual. Yeah, but it doesn't tell me what app I need. Okay, Apple Store, I need DeSal Lite Plus. Now, the one that I have open right now is DeSal Lite. So, just be prepared. You have to have two different apps depending on which light you're using. Which, I mean, it kind of makes sense because as they're coming out with new lights, there are going to be new technologies that just require different things. But it is disappointing they didn't from the start just build it all into one app. Also, the fact that it's called DeSal Lite and not Falcon Eyes would be really nice if they just had their own branded app. But I will say that my favorite thing about this app is just how easy it is to use, how it just lays everything out so simply and it just works. Like, it's truly an amazing and awesome app. So I'd buy this light. Well, I don't know if I'd buy this light, but I'd buy a Falcon Eyes light that uses this app almost exclusively because I like the app so much. That's how great it is. Okay, so now I have DeSal Lite Plus and DeSal Lite. Let's open up DeSal Lite Plus. We're going to, oh geez, you have to make a account. Okay, -1 for this. I hate having to have accounts. Because then what happens is I forget my username, I forget my password. Why do you need to know what country I'm in? I just want to use my light. Personal opinion. So once my email, register. Not a fan. Because, like, who am I giving this to? Where's it going? But whatever, let's give it a try. Let's give them my, I don't want to give them anything. Let's give them a fake email and see if we can get around it. And then it wants you to use a verification code, and I said get code, and it just says operation failed. So at the moment, it would appear that unless I put in my phone number, it's not going to work. So for you I will try. And I will bear the brunt of spam phone calls for the rest of my life. We have sent a text message. Okay, so you have to use a text for some really dumb reason. There's my verification code. That worked right away. 630-0550. Cool. Complete. So there's my number. And then I'm going to put my password in. And the worst part is I'm going to have to remember this. Like, I'm going to forget about it. Oh, login failed. Good. Let's check my region again. Like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to set the region to Canada in order to use this app? Okay, login successful. Now let's actually put on screen record. Okay, so I've got the app up. I'm going to hit the plus icon, I'm assuming, and go add device. It's going to search. And I have no idea if that's what this already is here on the top, this little bar here that says colorful lights E853. What's weird is the numbers are changing, like they're going up and down. So what does that mean? Whatever, let's hit plus on there. All right, we're connected. So that was super easy. Now we're going to go to the device, select it. And from here, we should be able to change absolutely everything, which is super great. So there's 2800 Kelvin, 3200 Kelvin, 6000 Kelvin. Why are you not changing? Hello? Okay, so I'm adjusting things, but nothing is happening. Oh, but the RGB is working, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Let's try turning it back to just normal temperature. Hit power. Okay, now it's working. So there's 2800, 3200, 4000, 6000, 7000. Or of course you can manually dial in. There's the brightness, that's the temperature. And then what's really, really cool about these lights is they have a magenta and a green shift. So if you're in a room, you've got a bunch of fluorescent lights, let's say, or you're shooting outside at night, and those lights kind of have a green cast to them, you can match that with this light. Or vice versa, if you're somewhere where you need to compensate and add more magenta because things just look too green, you can do that. So that is really fantastic. If we head over into just the normal color mode, we can just select exact RGB colors. There's a nice wheel here, and it's so easy to use. I really love it. And what's really cool is it gives you the values at the top. So if you ever want to recreate these, you can create the same color exactly later on. So I can either take a screenshot here, or I can write down those values, whatever it is I need to do. And of course, there are different ways. So I can just do RGB values like this. I can select from pre-made gels. If you're a theater buff, somebody who actually deals with this all the time, and you have other lights that use specific numbered gels, we can match those right away, which is really, really cool. And then another thing that's useful for some people, for me, I never use it, but you never know, is just the built-in ability to do different scenes. So what is kind of cool about this is they have fire truck, police, ambulance, and what's neat is because it's RGB, obviously you can do a lot more than in the past. Like my old Falcon Eyes light, it's only tungsten or daylight balance, and so the actual effects, there weren't that many. It was like you can make it flash or you can make it fade, that's about it, right? This, because you've got different colors available, you can do all sorts of really interesting things. And then you can take it and adjust the speed up or down, and of course the overall brightness of the light for each scene. So that's pretty cool. Now what's really interesting, and I'm just seeing on this new app, is you can actually save parameters and read parameters. So I'm assuming with read you can find a file and actually open somebody else's light settings. That's pretty cool. Of course I don't have one. Oh, I see. I can save it right now. We're going to call it Ryan's flash thing. Save that. Okay. And now if I ever want to reload this, let's go to like lightning, and I say I want to go back to Ryan's flash thing. We go to read parameters, select Ryan's flash thing. Are we back? Is that the same? There we go. So that's actually really useful too. Another mode that might be useful, isn't to me, but you never know, is you can actually have the light sync. I don't know why they include music in the app, but they do. Okay, so again, it has a visual sync mode to different music. I don't know why you would use that. Oh, but there's a microphone. So you can have it access the microphone and have it sync to whatever your phone is picking up. So right now, let's just... Works pretty good. If you want to download my album, you can find it in the description below. Just kidding. Okay, and then we can access our camera. And this is one other thing that is really cool about these lights. You can actually take a photo of your scene. So let's say of this little blanket here. We're going to hit something, hit this little spot, and it's going to find whatever I have my camera selected on. So I can exact match the color. So here's a yellow blanket, and in theory, I can then use this color. So let's try that again. Let's find the blanket. There's our blanket. And now, oh, you can take a photo too. Same thing. Can't get it to work, but let's use that. All right. We've got our photo. Now, why isn't our light doing anything? Oh, update my Apple Watch. That's cool. Okay, go away. All right, so, oh, there we go. We can just touch. And there you go. It's going to find whatever color I've selected, or do its best. Although I think microphone mode is still on. So let's see if we can shut this off. There we go. Okay, now go back to photo. There we go. And in theory, we can grab colors from anywhere in here. Like, that is really, really cool to be able to just match, especially if you've got a scene. It's like, okay, I just want more of that blue. Well, okay, perfect. Or I want to match this white in the room. So I take a picture of the wall and then I can find that exact color. So that is the app. And as you can see, it's really, really handy. We can group multiple devices together, although I don't have the ability to test that right now. And we can create scenes. So let's just see here. We got a loop rule once. How many times do we want that scene to actually go? Let's set it to infinite. And insert black node. Will it actually, like, I'm assuming, shut off in between repeats? And then we're going to add our light. Okay. So I suppose we can just make our own custom scenes, and that's what that is all about. I'm not going to explore that too much because I don't need to, but it's interesting that it's there. Setting, okay. Network, not much to do here, except stuff like that. Now let's see if we can actually change the name of the light. That's one thing that sort of bugs me. There might be a way, but I'm not seeing an obvious way. I wish there were. So that's the light. It's got that, the ability to change colors. One thing that you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on is just making sure you don't have multiple scenes enabled or modes enabled at the same time. Because apparently I can have it set to tungsten, but then also go to music and have the microphone pick up my sound, and it's going to shift as I'm talking. So just make sure, because they do seem to conflict with one another. But overall, this app, really, really amazing, and totally unlocks all these functions that would be a pain in the butt to try and program in that tiny little display. So I'm in love with this thing, and the fact that I can actually set it up, say I want to use it on the wall, and I can just wirelessly control and adjust parameters and stuff like that, and look at my background and say, okay, that needs a little bit more green, obviously. It needs to be colder. Something like that. It's just really handy. You don't realize it until you have a light that you have to go back and forth every time. Oh, that doesn't look good. Let's turn down the brightness. Oh, that needs to be a little bit warmer. Let's go over there. It just takes forever. So that's really, really nice about that. Now let's talk about the actual quality of the light in terms of softness. Would I use this as a key light? Something like that. So I'm going to transfer this light onto the light stand of my Falcon Eyes whatever it is. I'm going to just switch these lights out, and you're going to see the difference in quality, if there is any, and we can go from there. All right, just so you can see, I've got that other light up here on my left, and then this is the light that I had in its place 2 seconds ago. So you can see I'm a lot darker now, but that's because I don't really have the light on full power. I'm just going to go over here, make sure my screen record is on. And we're going to go over to color temperature, make sure our brightness is up at 100%. And our temperature, we're going to set it around, say, 6,000. So by comparison, this light is definitely not as bright. So I'm going to close the lights behind me so you can see this a bit better, and we can actually assess the quality of the light. All right, so that's about as dark as I can make it in here right now. So let's just adjust our camera settings so that you can actually see me, and I'm not just a dark cloud. So would I light an entire scene with this light? Probably not. But it would be great if you're using it as a YouTuber, let's say, and you have it nice and close to your face. Like right now, it's about a little more than arm's reach away. And I'm going to just straighten our microphone. Arms reach away, and so this is kind of the quality of the light you can expect. It does look like our light is pretty harsh and directional. Let's try taking off our grid right here. That'll probably make it a little bit softer. I will say it comes off really easy. Okay, so slightly softer, maybe, I don't know, that's for you to decide. And what is pretty cool, again, is just the ability for me to be like, okay, so looking at my picture here, probably I want it a little bit cooler. I can take my brightness down, maybe that's a little too bright. Right, and just dial it in like that, like that. Oh my gosh, that saves you so much time, trust me. That's really, really nice. And the fact that I can shift it, so it's like, oh no, things feel too green like this, let's make it more magenta. Like, that's really nice for being able to dial in and make sure you get perfect skin tones, because that's one thing with my Falcon Eyes TDX, whatever it is, I can't get perfect color out of this all the time, because all it does is warm or cold. It has no ability to adjust the tint. And so the light behind me that you're seeing is reflecting off of trees outside of the house. Then the light goes through the window, hits me, and I'm all green because it's hitting all of those leaves. So I have to compensate by adding magenta in my camera's white balance. The problem is when I do that, then this light right here doesn't blend. It looks too cold. It looks too blue. It doesn't look warm enough. So that is a huge advantage of a light like this. And probably I'm going to wind up using this in this particular room more than this, because I can have it closer to me. It doesn't matter that it needs to light the entire room. I only need a little bit of light on my face, and I can adjust it so that my color is perfect. Or, of course, I can use it as a background light and say to myself, I'd really love to get some nice purple or some green or some whatever on the background. What's kind of weird, though, is that our RGB is so much less bright. There we go. Okay, so for some reason, if you use the HSI, it seems to be less bright. So here's green, or like all the way yellowish green. Now let's try doing the same thing this way. It seems to be less bright with the HSI setting than with the RGB setting. But being able to actually do a nice color cast like this on my background, that's really cool too. So just having the flexibility as a light. And I will say that the softbox is great. It's a little time consuming, but if I have my light set up, well, perfect. It doesn't matter. It's nice and it's easy. And then if you want it to be portable, then you just don't take the softbox with you, right? You could always just use the panel. You can see this light, I don't actually use the softbox on it. I just have it sitting out flat like that, and it works just great. So it just depends. If you want a really portable version of this, then you just take it like this, and you kind of have the best of both worlds. Having the ability to take that panel off is really, really nice. So overall, I'd say my first impressions of this light are good. It's built really well. The accessories it comes with feel really high quality. It works out of the box. Things that I don't like so much is just the app itself. Having to register was kind of annoying, but the app is great. So that's like a plus and a minus. Let's switch this color temperature so I don't look so weird. Okay, there we go. So the app is mostly a plus with a small bit of minus when you sign up. What else? This light, nice form factor, nice size. You can kind of gauge the quality of the light. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more harsh than a big light, but if you wanted to, you could also shine this through a larger softbox. You could put another layer of diffusion here and make it quite a bit brighter, not brighter, quite a bit softer and more pleasing if you really need that really soft light. Or of course, I could point it at the ceiling. Turn my brightness up. And then you're going to get an even more soft light in theory, or bounce it off a wall. Let's try that. So now it's bouncing off a much larger source. Of course, it's way, way darker this way, so you're going to need to, 1, max out the brightness of your light, and 2, just make sure that your ISO is up, or that you're shooting in a room that already has a lot of light. So those are just some options that you can use. Now, just for kicks, let's do a very non-scientific kind of comparison between this light right here and my Falcon Eyes TDX 18. Okay, so I'm going to turn this guy on as well. I'm going to attempt to get it approximately the same brightness. Hard to say for sure. Okay, so here is obviously this light right here. Okay, now of course this one's going to be reflecting a little bit, but there's the light. Okay, now here, if I put this in front, in theory, now you're going to see the Falcon Eyes 18. Now, of course, this is way too bright, so I'm going to have to turn that down. maybe 2 around there. Okay, light number 1. Light number 2. Light number 1. Light number 2. So you can see there's a major difference in tint because this one only does, no RGB involved, no hue, no tint, no nothing. It's daylight and temperature. All I can adjust is temperature. I can't do anything else, whereas this one has some magenta shift going on right now, and I can't really see, so I haven't dialed this in terms of color. So don't judge it by color. Just look at the quality of the light. Now, on the app, right now, this guy right here is set to 57%. And it's about the same brightness, if not a little bit dimmer, than this one right here, which is at 13%. So you can see there's a major difference in brightness. So if what you need is a really bright light, you want to fill up your whole room, fill up the whole space, bounce off the ceiling, you're going to want this for sure compared to the smaller version. Now they do make they do make a larger version of this light right here. So you can buy it in a much larger panel. It's higher power, and then you could have kind of the same situation as my Falcon Eyes 18 TDX. It's going to be a bit more money, but that's okay. And I would honestly, if you're looking at buying one of these lights, go big rather than go small, because these small ones, they're not really that portable anyways if you have to carry around this giant power brick. So that would be my advice to you if you're thinking about buying one, is buy the larger one. You're not going to be disappointed by having a bigger light that you have to turn down the power. You're always going to be disappointed and frustrated if your light is too small and the power is not high enough to do what you need it to do. Especially if you're in a situation like mine where you're constantly fighting the daylight outside. You want to make sure your light is plenty bright. You can compensate for that. And if you intend on using it outside, again, the brighter the light, the better it's going to be for you. So that's the only thing. I just wanted to give you a quick comparison in brightness and say buy the brighter one if possible. So overall, really high quality light. I'm impressed with it. I like it. I'm definitely going to be using it in the future. The few things that I would change, obviously not having to sign up on the app, that is a major pain, and having to remember a password. Like, I don't need that in my life. I want a more simple life, not a more complicated one. That's one. The other thing is just the portability factor. I feel like for the size of the light, does it really need this giant 5-pound brick of a power supply? Like, it's nice, it's high quality, but it kind of prevents me from taking this light anywhere without being like, do I really want to take it because it's so big? Whereas if it were just this light and a little power supply, well, then it's a totally different conversation. So that's one thing that I really don't love, but for most people, that's not going to affect. For the average person who just has a room they want to light, has a YouTube channel, or wants to have some color in the background of their videos, this light is going to be really great for you. And I can say I've owned 4 or 5 different Falcon Eyes products at this point, and every single one has been really high quality. I'm still using them today, and they just never let me down. Like, it's a good product. And so if you're looking at saving compared to, say, a Westcott Flex light, which is like 10 times the price, maybe it's not, maybe it's 4 or 5, I can't remember, but way more expensive, this gets you 99% of the way there, and sometimes even more, because I don't know if the Westcott lights have the RGB and have the app and have the inflatable softbox. Like, it's kind of neat. I'm looking at it. I'm sort of liking it. Like, the more I look at it, the more I dig it. It's just more clean than a typical softbox. And the fact that it kind of holds its form, but it's really light, it's nice. So overall, that's my first impressions of this light. I hope this video was helpful. If you have other questions about it, leave it in the comments below, because I'm sure I didn't cover everything in here. I'm sure there's some things that I forgot. I'm sure there's some things that I didn't mention. So I will do my best to follow up on those. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, hit that thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe if you want more content. Or if you want some free presets, some free tutorials, whatever, hit them up in the description, okay? I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, create something awesome. Peace.